next one. This is really important to me.
I know where you're going.
Floppy handshakes are not permissible in the kingdom of God. So
the little dead fish handshake.
Like the dead fish handshake. So one of our things at our house, our kids know this. Even our daughter knows.
She had to learn it.
I'm going to regularly approach them, hold out my hand, to which they will shake my hand with some degree of firmness. And if they don't, they will be shunned. Welcome to the Glass House Family Edition.
Parenting edition.
I think we should just sing that song. We are family. Go ahead.
I don't sing.
Brothers and sisters.
And you don't remember lyrics, so this is a problem.
This is a running joke in my house. I literally can't ever remember 2 lines of a song, maybe one.
He makes them up, or he goes, like he'll just hum it.
Fill it in the gaps. Hey, everybody. We wanted to share some practical tips and principles about family that we've picked up along the way. A lot of these aren't necessarily ours. We've stolen them and forgotten where they come from. But we wanted to share with you some things that have worked for us. But we really just wanted to start with a discussion about the importance of intentionality in ministry. Like, as church life is busy for a lot of our folks who are on staff, it's easy to take your eye off the ball at home.
Yeah, I would say it's intentionality at home, not in ministry.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, ministry families struggle at home.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep church going. So home. And Jesus said in Luke chapter 14, I believe, yes, that nobody sits to build a tower without first making sure they have supplies. So when you think about building your family, it's important to think about, what do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to go? Mm-hmm. So, confession, we have our own struggles as a family.
No.
It's true.
We did that at the same time. Yeah.
There's a couple of things that we're really not good at that we feel a tremendous amount of shame about. Yeah. You want to confess one?
Sure. I'm happy to. This one is actually a struggle between the parents, which would be you and I, but the amount of what we check our kids' phones with.
Yeah, we're not good.
It's really, we have found it's been very hard with 4 kids, and there are so many workarounds that I actually just heard a story. I don't know if I should say this or not, but we'll find out. And this mom noticed that her son had a Bible app, and he was spending about 3 to 4 hours on it every day. And she was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And then she clicked through it, figured out, and it was a pornography app. And so they have figured out ways to work around it. It's super hard, and we are not good at this at all.
You know, I've always felt guilty about this, but we know when I felt really guilty about this is when they started staying up later than us. Like, almost every night we go to bed before them, mm-hmm. and it's really hard to police phones after we go to bed.
Well, yeah, they can put them up, but they can also come back and get them.
Come right back down and get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got harder. The other thing that we're not particularly strong at is family devotions. Mm-hmm. We know families that do it regularly. They're systematic, regimented. I think I take a lot of the blame for this one. I'm just not a great systematic person.
Would you call yourself not a pious person?
I'm not a real pious person.
I
told Lynley that this week. She's like, you've never used the word pious before.
I said that because you said it literally 4 times in like 3 minutes. And I thought, where did you just read pious?
It's true. I'm not a read through the Bible in a year kind of guy and other things. Like, I admire people that do that, just like I admire people who run marathons.
Oh, I can't go there.
Well, they do it.
Oh, I admire it.
The Nashville one was last weekend.
All right.
So we're not great at that. So we don't want you to get the impression, as we share all these practices and principles, that we've somehow cracked the code on parenting. We have all of our own struggles. But maybe one of these will spark an idea.
And I want to clarify what you said earlier. Some of these we do remember. It's people. I mean, we have found older families and couples that have gone ahead of us. So I don't want to say like we've illegally stolen these ideas. These are things that people told us and said, hey, this worked well for our family. So we're just passing them on. Yep. It's not that this is some book and we don't want to give someone credit for it.
Okay, so number 1.
And some of these are going to be fast.
Yes, teach your kids how to offer a real apology. So we talk about this in our home some, but whenever the word "but" comes into an apology, it's really not a good apology. So, I'm sorry that your feelings were hurt. I'm sorry that you think I did something wrong.
You didn't say but that you. It's
I'm
that
sorry,
you.
But you made me say that with your reaction.
If you hadn't acted this way,
right.
I wouldn't have done that part.
Any kind of qualifier.
Right, which everybody knows. But it's easy to say, well, I apologize for that. Mm-hmm. And not all of our kids are equally great at apologizing.
So it's something we've had to continually talk about. Like, hey, I know you're trying to offer an apology, but that doesn't really help.
Yeah. Well, and this is part of our family values, which we've talked about so many times on here, and we won't continue on, but healthy conflict, and where we say that sometimes we hurt each other on purpose and sometimes it's unintentional. And so either way, you need to learn how to offer a genuine apology. I would say the caveat here, I mean, and this is for you and I, is that, I mean, even just this week, I was really upset with you on Monday. And it took me time to realize that what you were saying was right. And it took me till Tuesday to offer a genuine apology that was remorseful. So I don't believe this, that like in the minute, like in the heat of a fight, that you have to tell your kids like, you better apologize or whatever. So, I mean, we let them calm down sometimes and then come back and say, man, I thought about it more.
Totally. So, it was after you had a mozzarella stick that you got apologetic.
No, it wasn't.
I think that's the key.
No, it was that morning I called you back, and then I second apologized after a big cheese stick.
No, I made a note that cheese sticks might be the way to get to full repentance with you.
I mean, fried anything, basically.
All right, you got number 2.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit, but family closers. So, I mean, our family, we don't have, because we don't have regular devotions, and we've talked about this before on here, we just find when we have nights we're all home, we'll text the family group thread and say, hey, it's time for a family closer. It could be a simple, how was your day? It can be a high-low. It can be name a feeling. It can be a Bible time. Recently, we were with Jen Wilkin, and she was talking about how their family would do a night. It was every Monday night, which we're not that regimented, but they would do a Bible passage and talk about they would have 2 observations and 2 questions. So we want to start applying that in our family. I mean, we learned that from her.
We did it recently. It worked.
Yeah. So that's something that we've really enjoyed in our family.
You know what I loved about that? It didn't take any preparation.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, like it's not like I had to go sit down for 20 minutes and plan a little Sunday school lesson for us.
A whole 20 minutes.
In this day and age, that's half a Netflix show.
It's almost a full Family Feud.
All right, family camp. We cannot say enough about family camp. We're a big fan of all of our camps here at Lifeway, and we are an endorser of Fuge and CentriKid and all those. But we did do family camp a couple of years where we all went to camp together, and it was just a really great experience to be able to everybody be together while camp is happening. So, those are offered in various places all around the country, but we want to just say, like, for us, that was a really time well spent.
Wait, I want to say why this was so great. So we had time with the kids. We had time without it, which is Ben and I. But for moms listening here, they cook you every meal. They serve every meal. They cut your kids' food up. So, I mean, I got to sit there, and whenever someone would ask me something, there was a counselor immediately there who was like, I can get that for you.
Yeah.
So I got to sit. And so my favorite part of family camp was that for 21 meals, I literally had to do nothing. And every kid, I mean, we were at the dinner table the other day. You remember this. And we had a big brunch, and we were still sitting there, and Miles goes, hey, so what's for lunch? I was like, we're still sitting.
What's for dinner?
Oh,
while we were eating lunch.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I mean, and so I thought, I'm so tired of that question. Go to family camp, and they'll take care of it.
Family camp is worth the investment. The next one.
So this number 4, it's designating ages for purposes.
Okay, yeah, you talk about that.
And I can talk about this. And I mean, this is going to be a take it or leave it type thing. So for me, we did like pictures of our kids at 2 and 5. I chose 5 strategically because my background's dental hygiene, and that's before they start losing teeth and they have that jumbly like mess of teeth. So while they're still cute and have all their baby teeth, we would do like just their pictures at 5. And so we would do things like that. We would do their first friend party at age 5. We did a trip with each kid at age 10. So those are just ideas of what we did, but just designating times to where okay, at this point, we're going to do this with this child, and they have something to look forward to. Because, inevitably, when you take the first one on a trip at 10, the next one's going to say, but I want to go. Where's my trip? And to say, this is not your time. Like, your time is going to come when you're 10, and won't we look forward to it kind of thing.
It was fun doing the 10-year-old trip. Every one I remember.
And you wrote him a letter at 10.
Yep.
A really nice letter.
Yep. And Ava we took to a play, and the boys we took to St. Louis and did different things. So it was fun. It was really good. All right. Create family traditions. It would be a helpful exercise to sit down and write down what are our family traditions. And if you don't have very many, then make some. Over the years, we've added to our family tradition list, but I think those are the things that keep our kids connected to like family culture. So we've talked about the ornament night we've done when the kids were little. Right after Thanksgiving, we'd take them all out to Hobby Lobby or somewhere, and they get to pick out a Christmas ornament that represents something that happened in their life that year. and then we keep all the ornaments in a box. So every Christmas when we pull them out, it's like a trip down memory lane for each child. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
And it's a tradition now that they value.
Mm-hmm.
So create family traditions. Anything else you want to say on that?
No, I mean, I think you guys get that. It's just the purpose is be intentional with that.
All right. The next one is what we call Uncle Ben's Bible time. This wasn't something that we ever saw coming, but when we were in Denver for a period of years, our kids were surrounded by folks from different religions. Mm-hmm. Our neighbors are from different religions. My daughter came home from school and she was like, Dad, what's a Mormon? And out of that, we started doing Uncle Ben's Bible time. So with my kids and some of the kids in the neighborhood, once a week, we would do like a world religion class where I would just take one religion at a time and sometimes even different denominations and say, hey, here's what Muslims believe, or even here's what Presbyterians believe versus Baptists, like to help kids understand the range of things that are happening across the world with world religions. And then I'd throw in some fun like Bible trivia stuff and things like that. But I do think when the kids are younger, they have a lot of natural questions about, why are we this and the person across the street is that?
We went on a field trip to a Catholic mass. Unfortunate timing. It was, I think, Good Friday.
Yeah, it was the longest mass in history of mass.
No, but it was sweet. But the thing is, this was embarrassing, and this is why we should know this. The kids just started barreling into the pew, not realizing they should kneel, before going in there. And so, of course, there's 17 of us, and they couldn't figure out who we were. But it was a good idea, and I do think people should visit other churches just to get a fair understanding of what happens.
They had a ton of questions afterwards, like, wait, what was that? What was this?
Well, and just recently, you were preaching in a town where one of my college roommates live, and she is devout Catholic, and she brought her 13-year-old daughter, and they came and listened and supported you, and just, were willing to be present. And so that meant a lot to us.
Yep.
And Amelia liked it. She enjoyed it. It was something different.
The kids are interested in that.
Yeah.
Because their friends are those, religions. And they were like, what's it like to go to church at your church?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're up.
Okay, well, I want to talk about one. I'm deviating from this list real quick, but it's super important to me.
We had a plan.
I'm a rule breaker. So this one is about our voices. And I'm going to get off on a little bit of a tangent here, so I'll let Ben go ahead and get his water break. So there's a book, Shaping of a Christian Family, by Elizabeth Elliot, that was super, super impactful to me. And it just talked about your voices and how you teach kids to listen to your voice to understand the seriousness of a situation. And so I really use that. I think it's very effective with your kids. I mean, they should know by the tone of your voice if we're like, hey, this is fun playtime, or hey, I'm being serious, like you need to do this now. And it went into language as in, so this is a pet peeve of mine, and you can write in and disagree with me. People do. We currently, modern day, give our kids choices of whether something's a question or a command. I'll give an example. Sometimes I'm around moms, especially as a kids ministry director, and they would say, why don't you put your shoes on, please? Well, when you say something like please, then that gives the person the option to say, no, thanks. Like, I don't want to do that. And so I think that we mess up by asking the question and not a command because we feel like we can't say it authoritatively. And it's so easy to say to your kids, hey, we're going to be leaving the house in 5 minutes. I need you to put your shoes on. And when they don't do it, you can then have authority to say, hey, I told you to do this once, first time obedience, and you didn't do that. Well, if you had said please, then they may be like, but you said it like a question. So I just think that is something like it's really hard for me when we go places and people like that mom has a kid in the pool and she says, okay, we got to go. Get out of the pool, please. And they, at least 17 minutes later are still in the pool, like thrashing around. And I just want to say, hey, rip the kid out of the pool and be the authority. Like you're the parent. Tell them like, hey, it's time to go. Like we're going now.
But don't you think some of the reason our kids listen is because you carried a spatula around everywhere?
Well, now you're going to get me turned in. I totally did. It was a kitchen spatula.
Our kids to this day get chills when they see spatulas in drawers.
I would just literally
shriek in horror.
I would hold it up and it was like silence. Yeah. But that's because they knew my voice. And that's the whole point of that book is that she's saying her child was in danger and he knew her voice. And so when she said, move out of the way, he got out of the street. Versus, when you don't have authority, they don't listen.
Yeah, I think you should change the principle to they knew my spatula. That's all.
They knew my spatula.
All right, I'm going to hit 2.
Oh.
Number 1.
Okay, give me a break.
Number 1, go get a Table Topics cube. Buy it on Amazon. Number 2, We are the Mandrell family. It was a line that we used a lot with our kids. It was stolen from the Green family, and here's when it would be used. Well, so-and-so's family gets to go and do this, and why do we have this rule that we can't do that? And we would say, because we're the Mandrell family, and we do it different. And they never really had a good response.
Well, they would be like, oh.
Well, then we don't want to be the Mandrell family.
Well, we want to be the Green family.
You know, like different families have different rules, and some families are more lax in certain things than the others. And so our kids would always call us on it. And we would just say, we're the Mandrell families. We do it this way. And it seemed to work. Try it at home.
Are you done?
Those are my two.
Okay. 30-minute on, 30-minute off principle.
This is a good one.
Yeah. So this was one, I mean, having 4 kids in 48 months, there was always someone needing me and needing something. And I don't do well in a world of chaos. I need things to be in order. I know that people out there sometimes can have a super messy house all day long and then clean it up at the end of the day. I can't do that personally. And so I would tell the kids all the time, we'd set timers. I'm going to play with you for 30 minutes, and then you're going to play nicely by yourself. You're going to find a puzzle. You're going to read a book. You're going to do whatever. And of course, I wasn't like leaving them. They were too little for that. So they were in my eyesight, but they knew that if I'm standing at the table folding laundry, if I'm doing dishes, that was not their time to interrupt me, unless someone was injured, of course. But most of the time I was like, unless somebody is bleeding or a bone is sticking out of your arm, don't interrupt me, because it's like I'm trying to get something done, which was super tender, I know. But the whole point is just they also need to learn how to use their own minds. And my kids, this was before screens, really, so it wasn't necessarily that they were playing on something. They would watch TV sometimes. I would turn on a video to do that. So it wasn't like they never watched a video, but for the most part, it was 30 minutes, I'm going to play with you, we're going to go outside, we're going to do something, and then 30 minutes, you're going to do something on your own.
All right. Child care principle, let others take care of your kids. We found early on, as early as possible, to let your kids get used to the fact that other people can care for them. Like even when they're dropping them off at the kids ministry.
Boot them in.
Just push them in there, and they're going to scream and holler for a couple of weeks, and then it'll be over.
And that's why those people are in there. That's what they're there for. Don't worry about it. But what we were talking about here, too, was finding people that turns into family. So we had Buddy and Robin West, who were like an aunt and uncle for our kids, basically. We had Granny A that we've talked about. Several families, Lana and Pat Massey, that would come at different times, and the kids got to know them. I mean, it was just family. And let your kids see relationships to where other people in their life are almost just turns into family.
Yeah, maybe you start with just like letting them watch your kid for an hour or something, like, but kind of work your way into it. I mean, we talk to couples all the time. Young couples are like, we've been married 7 years and we've never been on a date.
No, they don't say that. They say we've never been away from our kids.
From our kids, that's what I mean.
Overnight.
Like, we've never gone away, or we've never done a weekend away, or we just don't feel like we could leave our kids with somebody. And
listen, leave them.
I just don't like my kids that much when I'm with them.
Until
I'm away from them. And then I like them again.
No, but here's what we've laughed at, because we had vacation with people before, and they call their families like several times during the day. And you and I would laugh secretly. We thought, do we not
What's
like
wrong with us?
We don't want to call them.
Why are we not checking in? Why are we not even thinking about them?
Well, they're FaceTiming their kids. Why would we do that?
But in all seriousness, having a break from your kids does give you a capacity to love them again, just to have a break and remember who you are as a person apart from who they are.
But it's good for them to learn to trust other people.
Agreed.
That's the thing, too. They have to learn to trust other people as well and realize there's really great people everywhere.
Absolutely. All right, you got the next one.
Yeah, honoring your kids. This is his day. I mean, we had 4 kids, 3 boys that were like 30 months apart for the 3 boys, very, very close. And you know that we experienced he has a ball game and he won. Why does he get to have this? I mean, so we often said, we're going to celebrate you on some days, but today is not your day. This is his day, and he did a great job at this basketball game, or he did a great job at his guitar recital. And so we're going to honor the other person in the family, because it's so hard when, one kid gets a scooter, the other kid wants a scooter, or things like that. And you just had to say, why are you laughing?
We just practiced this principle this weekend with our 20-year-old and 17-year-old.
What do we do?
She got a cool pair of headphones for her birthday.
Okay.
And he took that opportunity at her birthday party to let us know how important it would be to him to get some headphones like that in the future.
My birthday's coming up in 3 weeks. I'll take some of those. And I had just explained, hey, she's turning 20. the budget goes up a little bit. We're getting one nice gift and not a couple little piddly things. And
But here's what I loved.
But he said that, and I was like, yeah, great, in 3 years.
But here's what I loved. Ava hopped in and said, hey, this is my day.
Don't interrupt.
Yeah. So teaching kids to realize this day isn't about you, and it doesn't have to be about you.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
Okay.
a good one. All right, I got to talk about this one. This is really important to me.
I know where you're going.
Floppy handshakes are not permissible in the kingdom of God. So
The little dead fish handshake.
like the dead fish handshake. So one of our things at our house, our kids know this. Even our daughter knows.
She had to learn it.
I'm going to regularly approach them, hold out my hand, to which they will shake my hand with some degree of firmness, and if they don't, they will be shunned.
Beaten.
Spatula.
No.
But it's funny. It's like a running joke now. Sometimes even when we say goodnight to the kids, I'll just hold out my hand, and they like to grab my hand with strength now. And I do think I have met people over the years, like when you go to shake their hand, they literally just, it's one of these deals.
Is that like,
Yeah, it's like little, what is that? So we in our house do it, like look me in the eye and shake my hand activity, and it's become kind of a game. It's fun.
That's the other one, is looking people in the eye. Please teach your kids to look people in the eye when you ask a question, when you answer a question. Don't eye dart, don't look down. We were I forgot where we were recently, but it was adults, and it was someone giving a presentation, and they looked down the whole time.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Yeah,
And
come on, I'm over here.
I thought, wait, don't you want to connect?
Communication's important.
Yeah, so floppy handshake, looking them in the eyes.
Can I throw one more in here that we're not good at?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about going off script. So I sent my son this morning, Miles. Do you know Miles?
I'm aware.
Yeah. I sent him a text this morning. You were on the text.
Yep.
I said, Miles, you've been wanting a new phone. I'd be interested in getting you a new phone if you decide to answer your phone.
The phone call.
And,
Not the text. The
and
phone
so
call.
he responded. He says, I'm exaggerating this, but I said in the text, I would like to talk to you about coming across a little more friendly in the way that you text. I do think teaching your kids tone in texting is a super important skill these days, and I think Miles has a little bit of work to do. Sorry, Miles. I know you're not listening anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So he's not going to listen to this. Don't make that into a reel.
I'll bet his friends are out there putting this on Twitter.
We asked all three of our boys recently, that we said, so it's 100 episodes. Like, how many have you listened to? And all three said, not a one. So we're safe. We're safe here.
Yeah, I think we're okay. All right, we got one
But
more.
I would say texting etiquette. That is
Texting etiquette's important.
and the difference between your kids and their friends and the adults kind of thing.
The other day I had one of our vice presidents at Lifeway I texted him, and then she said okay.
Oh,
And I said,
that's your pet peeve.
Do you realize when you say okay, it really sounds to me like all caps, fine, be that way.
Ben hates.
She was like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's how that read to me.
If you want to make Ben mad, just respond at K. Just the K.
Okay, even without a period, it's especially hurtful.
If we're fighting and he sends me a text, I just purposely, because I'm that godly, will say okay, because I know it's going to make you mad.
That's like a way to
Let's
really
just
get at me.
Exasperate, make it worse.
Yeah. Anyway,
You're welcome.
we can talk about that later. All right, we got one more.
We've just talked about this a little bit.
Learn the art of returning a question.
Asking a question and returning it.
Yep. So one of the things we try to watch with our kids is, like, if they're in a conversation with folks and they're asked a question, do they return the question?
Mm-hmm.
And I was recently with a young lady that I hadn't been around in years. She's grown up since then, and I was sitting down talking to her, and I just like, what do you like to do for fun? And she turned around and said, well, what do you like to do for fun? After she answered the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her dad, I was like, that was impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear a lot of younger people return a question.
I don't hear a lot of adults return a question sometimes. Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. I think sometimes I'll go have lunch with people sometimes, and I leave and I think, I just listened. I did a lot of listening. I did a lot of question asking, and then they answered. And then I asked the next question, and they answered. And I would have enjoyed a ping pong, like a little more depth there to that.
You know what you should do from now on? Send a follow-up email and answer all the questions what you would have said, and just say, hey, since you didn't ask.
That would be good. I'm sure that would.
I think that would appropriately send the message of what the next lunch should be like.
What if I just sit there and wait and say, I'm just waiting for my question?
You could do that, or you could just look at your watch.
pick up my phone.
Pick up your phone.
I'm done.
So there they are. I don't even know how many that was. I think it's like 14
No, it ended up being more.
Ideas for parenting, and then 3 confessions from the Mandrell family to which we repent.
So, but it would be fun if people would respond with things that have worked in their house for parenting.
Absolutely.
If you'd let us know what works for you guys, and we can kind of add those to our list.
Yeah, particularly if you have kids who answer your phone. When your phone calls.
We'd
like to know how you got that to happen.
No, I think too, particularly if their kids are older. Where were we? We just heard this. Somebody said when their kids were, I know where it was, that when the guy came to propose, the mom said, I just need you to write in a letter why you love my daughter and want to marry them.
That's good.
And I thought, and she said they were fine with that. And it's been, she's kept it. It's a really special moment. And she said she left it, she kind of has that manipulatively in case he ever turns into a jerk and he can say, wait, you said you loved my daughter for this.
That's really good.
I mean, she was being silly about that, but it was a good tip.
The Glass House is executive produced by Angie Elkins, edited and engineered by Donnie Gordon with help from Nathan Howard, show notes and production help from Nikki Ogden, photography by Emily Bergeron and Bailey Watley, recorded at the Lifeway Podcast Studio in Brentwood, Tennessee.